Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 4 replays in the Eastern Alliance Era 3 Tech Tree Heavy Tank, the PT-91 Twardy. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the PT-91, it is the middle of Era 3 tank for the new Tech Tree branch that has come out. If you were to have gone down the T-72M, T-55AM, T-72M2, I think it is, the Vilk, and then you get to this PT-91 that then leads on to the top of the Era 3, which is the Moderna. Obviously, the other route is going through the TR-85-125, TR-85M1 to then also get to the Moderna, but we've gone for the opposite line because it's got a lot of newer tanks in it, and generally the tanks are a little bit more interesting, as obviously they're brand new, so people want to know what's going off with them. And it is definitely the best way to get to the Moderna, because honestly, the tanks have been pretty good. They've been pretty good. I mean, the T-72M is a bit of a struggle at times because the gun just decides no. But the T-55AM was pretty nice, except for penetration, realistically. The T-72M2, the Vilk, was very good for an entry Era 3. I mean, with the fact that it's an entry Era 3 in mind, it was a pretty damn nice tank to play. And then you get to this PT-91. And yeah, again, very enjoyable. Very, very enjoyable vehicle. The PT-91, same as the Moderna is as well, having played through that now. Very, very enjoyable vehicles, and you will have quite a bit of fun in this one as you grind through to the Moderna, and that's why I say to just go through this line, because you don't really have too much fun in the TR-85M1 in general, and then this tank is actually quite enjoyable for that kind of grind. So this first replay, we are completely stock, as we do in these types of new Tech Tree videos, and we've got a 70 km/h top speed with a 24 km/h reverse speed. 850 horsepower engine means we have a 17.97 horsepower per ton ratio, which means we do get up to that 70 km/h top speed, which is quite nice for the Twardy. We've got a 34 degree a second hull rotation speed, with a 42 degrees a second turret rotation speed. So this is one that you might want to actually start adding clutch braking in instead of Deadeye again, because the track traverse is pretty slow on this vehicle, or a lot slower than the turret anyway. So it might be nice just to make that better in general, because sometimes it does struggle to keep the tracks going with some of the really fast vehicles that go off in Era 3. We've got 553 meters of view range, which is pretty nice for the Twardy. We've got 0.54 accuracy during rotation, mixed with a 1.3 accuracy during movement with the build that I run, which is pretty okay. It means that, as you can see, the aiming circle is not that big while you're on the move, so the gun is always ready to go. If you do not run the gun stabilizer and the crew skills to make the gun better, naturally, that aim circle will be a lot bigger, making it a lot harder to hit shots on the move in this vehicle, which is something you really want to be doing in Era 3, is making it snapshotty as possible, because a lot of tanks in Era 3 are super duper accurate on the move or even stationary, you know, so you want to try and keep it at that kind of level. You've got 0.19 accuracy at 100 meters, which is fantastic. You've got 1.9 second aim time, which means that even if the aim circle blooms out anymore, it does aim in pretty damn quickly though, which is quite good. We've got 6 degrees of gun depression, which again can be awkward on a ridgeline, just like every other Soviet-esque vehicle, but it's not quite 5 degrees, which is really poor. 6 degrees is still enough to give you a little bit extra flexibility, but it's still not good, right? You got a 5.5 second reload, which is 5.9k DPM, which is fantastic on this stock gun, with 579 penetration on the standard APF SDS round, with 685 penetration on the premium APF SDS round, and 155 penetration on the standard HE round, which means you've got enough pen to go through pretty much everything you're going to face in Era 3, because your 579 pen will go through most vehicles generally, and then the plates that you do struggle with to go through with 579 penetration, you can just load the 685 pen APF SDS round, and you'll go straight through those quite easily too. So generally, the penetration and the gun handling is pretty fantastic even on this stock tank. So what do I run in terms of recruit and equipment on this tank? Well, fairly similar to the rest of the line generally. Born leader, rapid reload, 6th sense, steady aim, snapshot, run and gun, rapid aim, track mechanic, Deadeye, with the advanced loader, the gun stabilizer, and vents. Vents to make everything about the tank as good as possible, like the DPM and all the accuracies and stuff. The gun stabilizer to get the accuracy during movement and rotation down as low as possible, so that you can see the aim circle stays super duper low, so you're always ready to snapshot and hit shots in this vehicle. And the advanced loader to get as good a DPM as humanly possible. All 3 gun perks alongside that gun stabilizer, again to make this gun as fabulous as it is. And then the rapid aim to make the turret traverse better, because it's nice to have a fast turning turret with Deadeye to increase the chance of doing module damage by 6%. For the memes, that's one that you can change out quite easily, and this vehicle, like I say, might benefit better from having clutch braking, especially when stock. And as you can see with that first game, we got 9.3k damage, 2.3k assist, 1306 base XP, and I think that was the first or the second game I played in the PT-91, which was a good start to the tank, and honestly, it just carried on kind of like that. It was quite fun to play. We were consistently doing quite well in it, and it was just fairly enjoyable as a tank. I felt like the armor was good enough to save me in quite a few situations, but obviously not infallible. The gun handling was good enough to just snap shots left, right, and center, which was quite good, which is what you want, realistically, in Era 3, because like I say, a lot of vehicles have that capacity to do that anyway, so if you can have that too, glorious. And then having that near 6k DPM was also pretty damn nice as well for the tank, because it meant that I could keep up with the damage that was flowing in the games. So now this second replay, we're basically fully upgraded, except for the top gun. So this is still the stock gun on this tank. And now we have a 75km/h top speed with a 27km/h reverse speed with a 1000 horsepower engine. Meaning it, as you can see, it flies. It truly flies. It travels very, very quickly. It hits its top speed of 75 very, very easily. It's why I don't run the traction system on this vehicle. And having that 21 horsepower per ton ratio means that you just get there. You just do. We also now have a 38 degrees a second hull rotation speed, which is a lot quicker than it was when it was stock. Again, if you run clutch braking, you're probably going to get up closer towards the turret rotation, which is still something that's a viable option for the vehicle. But 38 degrees a second isn't as slow as it was when it was stock, like I said a minute ago. You've now got 586 meters of view range, which is, again, fantastic. It means you'll spot for yourself quite easily. You could get some good spotting assist as well. 44.85 degrees a second on the turret traverse is pretty damn quick, meaning the turret does turn way faster than the tracks, which is pretty good for it as well. Our accuracy during movement and rotation have now dropped on this stock gun to 0.57 and 1.19 respectively, which is, again, very, very good. It means this the gun aim circle is so small. It is, as you can see, full chat on the move, doing near 60 kilometers an hour, basically not even moved. And you can snap shots just so good. And this gun is utterly fabulous. It really, really is on this tank. And it's something that will very rarely let you down, which is glorious. It truly is. It's such a nice thing to have on this tank. So this second replay, we are on this map, which is Redshire. We've got ourselves into a little bit of a brawl. We're up to 4.4k damage with 3.8k assistance. We're at 8k combined so far, which is a good time. And we've noticed that their team is pushing in behind us towards the encounter cap, so we are going to go push back with our team to try and eliminate the threat and stop them getting in behind us and, well, basically taking us out. We don't want to lose this game yet. So we snap a shot into the T-72 M2E, which is the Moderna. He takes a big ATGM hit. We get a shot into the tracks there of the MX-40, or was the MX-32, one of the two, as we try to track and pen it. We put a shot through the drive wheel of the other T-72, which I was hoping set him on fire, but in fact it was one of my teammates that set him on fire, which made me a sad panda, because I wanted that fire, but hey-ho. We go for a shot into the side of the M1's turret, and we bounce, which is a really sad time, but the M1's just completely ignoring us, so we put a shot into the back of him RBRT, while being exceptionally mindful of those light tanks that are over there, because I'm not fancying taking an ATGM, to be perfectly honest. I don't want their love, their ATGM love. No one wants their ATGM love. They need to go find another ATGM lover somewhere else. So now our team's gone in on the M1. We're just going to make sure that we get in there to get the shot in. There we go. The shot flies in through the side as he turned. Leopard 2A4 is very exposed, and sadly we can't quite get the shot in. The Leopard 2A5 is on their back camper hill, lost most of his hit points, but we know where the last two light tanks are. They were over at E9, so we're going to go close the distance with them while my team goes and focuses on the tank that was spotted, which was the Leopard. Because naturally everyone knows where the Leopard was, so they're just all going to charge in. But we spot the BMP3 there. Sadly, the shot flies high, but it was quite unlikely to hit him, realistically travelling at 70... Well, we were doing more than 75 kph down that hill there. Very unlikely to hit him as he was pulling back. And we're loading HE because the 155 penetration rounds for 690 average will pen a lot of the light tanks fairly easily. So as long as we hit the side or rear of that vehicle, we're going to do a lot of damage if we pen it. So you can see me using True Vision to try and find where that BMP's gone. And there he is. The BMP-3's run away to the left. He gets hit by our ally. We RBRT the HE shell into the back of the BMP. 729. And then we give him the little love tap to shut him down. Oh yeah, baby. That's the way we do it. But yeah, that's where the HE can be useful on this vehicle, as well as splashing a tank like a Malo that we're going to really struggle to pen in general. We can just load the HE and then splash the Malo, and we'll still be doing a good 300 damage if we hit them in the right spots, so you can slowly whittle them down as well. But because of the ammo limitation and the fact that we've only got 44 rounds, and especially when you get those games where you're going to be doing a lot more damage that can exist in Era 3, we just don't have enough rounds in the tank to risk carrying more than 4 rounds of HE, which is a sad time. But anyway, we are closing down the last light tank, and it's like, where has this guy gone? I was expecting him to be over there with the BMP, but he's not. And then I thought, well, maybe he's down the K line hiding in the corner at K1, and he wasn't there. He was in the corner at C1 behind the church. Who knew? But he survives because we cap out, and we'll finish the game with 1 kill, 7.8k damage, nearly 4k assistance. It's what? 11? 12k combined? 11k combined? 11k combined. We'll go with that. It's safe zone, right? Pretty damn nice game there for the PT-91. And we're on to the third replay, and now we are at full capacity. We've now got the top 125mm 2A46 M2 Cannon V2. That's quite a mouthful. As we've got the top gun. We've got the top gun. We are now at our full capacity in that regard. We've got a 5.4 second reload, which is 6.1k DPM. DPM on this vehicle, like I say, is very, very nice. The velocity is still 1650 meters a second shell velocity on the standard APF SDS, 1680 on the premium, which means that the velocity is fantastic, and you don't have to give that much lead realistically to be able to hit your target unless there are extreme distances, which obviously there can be at Cold War. We've now got 0.17 accuracy at 100 meters, which is superbly accurate. We've got 1.1 accuracy during movement, mixed with 0.42 accuracy during rotation, which means that the aim circle, once again, at full speed, is basically non-existent, and it's always ready to fire. And even if the aim circle does bloom out a little bit, we've got 1.9 second aim time. Now, this is the time where we could start thinking about possibly dropping the gun stabilizer on the PT-91, because we're getting to that point where we're gaining something out the gun stabilizer in the fact that we never have to aim. We're just always ready to fire. But if we drop the gun stabilizer, we're going to be put into a position where the gun isn't always ready to go instantaneously, but it'll take us less than a split second to have it ready. And even then, we're still probably going to hit most of our shots anyway because we are super accurate. So you could probably drop the gun stabilizer and start running other equipment pieces, like the traction system, like the powertrain, for example, or advanced armor, and mix it, instead of Deadeye, with armor angling to reduce the amount of damage coming into your tank by 10%. There's plenty of things that you could do. Again, it's always down to your comfortability in a tank. It's always down to how you feel comfortable playing the vehicle. And if something is fine and you think, you know what, I don't need that perk because I feel happy enough with how the tank performs without it, I'll run something else. That's always the thing with the equipment and consumable system, is the fact that, and the crew perks, is the fact that what works for me might not work for you. Because, again, I don't know everything. And what works for me might be brilliant for me because, again, I like having my turret traverse better than my tracks and a lot. People might not be bothered by that. It's one of those pet peeves of mine when the turret really starts swiveling with the tank all the time. But it might not for you. So always try and take the builds that I give you and then play around with it, you know? And especially now the fact that you can change crew skills for 10 gold instead of having to change the whole bloody thing for 90, which was always frustrating. You can just tweak perks here and there and decide, yeah, I don't want Deadeye because I don't think it actually does anything. I mean, it's a placebo effect. I could think it does, increase my chances of damage modules by 6% all the time. But it could be a placebo effect where, in fact, it just doesn't seem to do anything at all, and I'm probably getting lucky, right? And you could drop Deadeye to actually have something useful. But I digress. In this game on Ruinberg, we've managed to get 6.6k damage, 557 assistance. There's one vehicle left. It's a pesky little pest in I think it's a weasel that's left. We've just killed one weasel. So there's one weasel left. He's there. Hello, Mr. Weasel Toe. Can we hit it on the move? Yes, we do. And it gets finished off by the T-72 BU. And that's why I like focusing on the gun handling with the gun stabilizer, because the gun was just like, laser, bang, gone. And that's why it's so nice. We finished the game with 4 kills, 7.2k damage, 557 assistance, the second class, 1367 base XP. Really nice game there for the PT-91. Probably the more average gameplay experience for the tank, if we're honest, in terms of the result and just how the tank performed there, where when things shot at us, we bounced a fair few shots, but we also got penned quite easily as well when people did aim it, and then the gun very rarely missed. And we just managed to use the DPM and stick with the team and just battle our way through the enemy team. So we're on to the fourth and final replay, and this game is a pretty damn nice game that we had, and it's also going to show you this tank under immense pressure, because that's what this game's going to be. We're going to be under some pressure from pretty quickly, to be fair. So we're coming up to the position at E4, and I'm slightly worried. Why am I slightly worried? Because 5 tanks have gone along the A line. We've got 2 tanks that haven't either spawned in or they've just not started yet. Or in fact, one's moving at D1 and B2. And that means there's only about 4 or 5 of us on this middle area. And quite a lot of times, the enemy team can just start swarming this area. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm not liking the separation, because as we all know in Era 3, when teams start separating themselves and getting split up, it quite quickly goes downhill if the enemy team all focus in that same area. So we've managed to shut down the Asario, which is good because that tank's mental, and we really can't compete with his raw DPM and his gun handling in general, so it's good to get rid of him. We're now trying to put shots in as quickly as possible. We're firing every single time we get a chance to fire, because that is what we need to do. We cannot rest on our laurels. We can't sit and go, I fired now, I'm just going to hide around the corner and then wait, because I think things like that T-72M2E are looking at me from the back. I can just go, okay, I need to pressure. So that's what we're doing here. I could get shot by that T-72 at the back. He bounces, and same as the Challenger. But I have to pressure where I can because we are a little bit outnumbered. So the T-72 comes in, the Challenger 1 comes in, we put a shot into the back of the Challenger, he pens us, but the T-72M2E, or the Moderna, does end up bouncing. We bounce the other tank as well, Charlie 1 is coming, hopefully with our 550 Alpha we can finish him off in one shot, but sadly, we low roll, meaning he's still alive. We get shot in the rear now because we're being pressured by another tank, and I just have to back off because we're not getting too much help here in trying to stop these guys who are trying to pressure. We get a shot into the drive wheel of the Moderna, which trackers is in place. Get a shot into his lower plate, which then sets... Did we set him on fire then? No, we tracked him and he gets set on fire by, I think it was the Asario, in fact. But he still managed to shoot us and pen us while he was on fire, which is a sad time. But now he's gone. We're on 734 hit points, which is something we've got to be careful of because we are now at 2-shot. But we need to still keep up the attack on these guys. I'm just being careful and watching what is going on our right as well, because they could quite easily get shots at us. And I don't want to overexpose at this point going after these two guys, because otherwise they'll get an easy shot into my lower plate. I might get one more shot into them, but yeah, they'll probably be game over at that point. We have shots at the Charlie 2, so we're going to try and get some shots into his drive wheel. There we go. We track and pen the Charlie 2. Hopefully have DPM to keep him pinned. But sadly, he ends up getting untracked. And we actually damaged his fuel tanks without penning him. Again, and we sit there going, how did we damage the fuel tanks but not pen or do damage? Okay, game. Sure, whatever. But I digress. We're just trying to push the tempo again because their team is pushing in and after murdering everyone on that right-hand flank. And we just got to be careful. Again, trying to put shots where we can. We end up missing the shot on the Moderna as it ends up just doing track damage only. But we get some assistance from it, you know. Challenger 2's come in, and the Challenger 2 is clearly going, I like you. I want to pen you, but he's actually backing off because he's being pressured by the heavy tank coming round. And once again, if we can help this heavy tank that's coming round, great. So we put a shot into the BMP3, but we could really just do with getting some guns out of the game. We see the Weasel, put a shot into the Weasel, we get tracked in place, and in fact we're down to 151 hit points, which is not good. Look for the shot into the Moderna, and we end up ricocheting off his side. Can't quite see a shot into the Charlie too, and I think, should I risk it to try and keep getting shots into the Moderna? We aim round to try and get a shot into the Weasel, and sadly the Moderna ends up finishing us off. We just had to keep chancing getting shots where we could because we were starting to get outnumbered, but thankfully it ended up in a Weasel versus 2 or 3 people, and the Weasel killed them all. So we finished the game with the first class, the Confederate, the high caliber, the sniper, with 1456 base XP. A really nice game there for the PT-91, which, like I say, is a really great tank. We're 14k combined, and like I say, on the whole, for a mid-era tank, this is a damn nice vehicle. If you like the Soviet vehicles in Era 3, you'll like this tank, definitely. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success.